Hey guys, welcome to Chalchitra Talks. मेरा नाम दिशा है and this is Hindol. And today we are sitting down to have one of the most scandalous debates ever. Why Parks and Rec is better than The Office.
No, that is not the name of the debate, and if you call that, then it's definitely scandalous. Scandalous तो नहीं कह सकते, but controversial जरूर कह सकते हैं. So today's debate is comparing The Office with Parks and Rec, and today I will try and convince Disha that The Office, जिसका मैं अभी T-shirt पहना है, is a much better show and much like worth your time than something stupid like Parks and Rec.
Those are very harsh words. I will let you know that I'm a fan of both the shows. I like both of them. I just
And
like
that's
Parks
great
Rec.
for you. That's great for you. Parks and Rec sucks. It's the
Do
worst show
the
on
diplomatic thing.
कोई तो होना चाहिए. See, Neville taught us one thing when he came on the quiz कि लड़ाई करनी चाहिए. तो today is like officially आज हम लड़ाई कर रहे
Yeah, but
हैं.
it's
आज हमारे
easy for
टाइटल
you
में
to
लड़ाई
fight.
है.
The Office ka fan base is so intense. I know
Yeah.
कि I'm going to get cancelled after this video. It's easy for you to say because you're on
Yeah.
the Office's side.
Yeah, by the end of the stream, I will convert Disha into an Office fan. Stay tuned till the end to watch how.
It could always be the other way around.
Let's see. I would be happy
I
to
will
be
say,
proven
come on, you won't
otherwise.
even realize when you've become one of the biggest Parks and Rec fans.
I just want to say a big nope to that. Yeah, that is a reference. So, yeah.
Okay. So, when did you watch both of these shows?
The Office, I watched it in college. Some shows are like relationships in your life. The first relationship in this regards was How I Met Your Mother. Then there was Friends. Then there was The Office. It's one of those shows जो बोलते हैं ना लोग कि like people watch one show and make it their entire personality. Like it's borderline
Yeah.
close to that for me. But when did you watch Parks and Rec for the first time, and like why does it mean so much to you that you are like fighting for it?
I watched Parks and Rec first and then I watched The Office. Parks and Rec I watched around 2016 and I watched The Office during the lockdown in the span of a month or even lesser. Actually, I binge watched the whole thing. And a lot of people have said this and I do agree somewhere that Parks and Rec is a better version of The Office and they try to improve all their mistakes from The Office in Parks and Rec, which is a reason why I think I like Parks and Rec better. Had I watched The Office first, I would have been able to appreciate it more.
ठीक है, like they do have the advantage of hindsight कि okay, these were the things that we messed up in
This
The
is
Office.
a very popular opinion. This is a very popular opinion.
Yeah, and it also shows in the fact that Parks and Rec is not available on any streaming platform in India legally. So yeah, it's very popular.
It was on Prime for a very long time, okay? I don't know what happened, but it was.
Yeah, I remember long back, like after watching The Office, there's this brief period कि like मैंने अपनी जिंदगी भर डंडर में फिल्म में अब काम कर लिया है. Now what else can I do? Like what are shows in the similar space that I can watch? And उस time पे मैंने Parks and Rec देखने की कोशिश की थी. I watched the pilot and I didn't like it. I absolutely hated it.
Yeah.
Like this is a garbage show and I'm not going to watch it. And then I realized that the pilot is the worst episode of the entire show. Like they didn't know what they were kind of going for.
But The Office is guilty of the same thing. First 2 seasons are terrible and it takes a lot of effort to get through it.
वो है because The Office season 1 is a direct adaptation of the UK Office. The US Office, they realized that we have to make Michael Scott likable. If you see, Steve Carell looks different in season 2. Season 1 में like he had a receding hairline and he looked meaner in general. Season 2 they changed his complete personality and that's what they did with the entire show. Like one of the things they did was they made the entire show brighter, like not just writing wise but shooting wise. Season 1 has less lights, season 2 has more lights because people were complaining कि यार ये बहुत depressing show. So there are those things. And then Parks and Rec, they made new mistakes and they worked on whatever The Office didn't get right.
So you agree?
Some things I agree, some things I don't agree. So let's see. So whenever like you watch a show for the first time, there's always one character that you strongly identify with and like that becomes the main reason for you to watch the show. So which character was that for you in Parks and Rec?
I don't think I can strongly relate to any character. But you said that I am very much like Leslie Knope. That is the first time I've heard that. But I'm very flattered.
Michael Scott and Leslie Knope kind of share the same DNA, but obviously because same family and like same creators, whatever. but they are very different people. And I think the difference in these two people is what makes these entire shows different. Michael Scott is a nice person, he means well, and he is a good boss overall. But if you put Michael Scott in any situation, the first thing that he wants is instant validation.
Yeah, his need to be liked is just so annoying. As you said, he might be a good guy. But his need to be liked is so annoying. And that's all he cares about. And that is why I like Leslie Knope's character so much. Is because even she wants to be liked. But there are things greater to her than that.
So that is like the whole defining difference between the two characters. For example, if you place Michael Scott in one conversation and there is a joke that you shouldn't make because it will risk everything, but that joke might get a laugh. So Michael Scott will take that risk. Leslie Knope won't take that risk because she will make like 5 different calculations कि okay, ये करूँगी तो ये होगा, फिर वहाँ से ये हो सकता है, then this will impact my political career, and I shouldn't say this. So that is the difference between Leslie Knope and Michael Scott. And I think I relate to Michael Scott a lot. The concluding statement of this entire rant is that the difference between what Michael Scott is as a person and what Leslie Knope is as a person extends to what the show's tone entirely is like. The Office will go for a joke every single time. Like, that is their priority. Humor first, relationship second. Parks and Rec ka ulta hai. Parks and Rec is relationships first and then humor second. So this is something that I feel.
I agree with you, but they always go for the joke. That is why it feels very forced sometimes. And with Parks and Rec, this is what I like about the show more, is that the jokes feel so much more smooth and natural compared to The Office. And The Office heavily relies on offensive humor.
That's because Michael Scott as a person is an attention seeker. उसको लगता है वो cool है, and that is his biggest insight कि वो cool नहीं है but वो बन रहा है. The biggest example is the episode Gay Witch Hunt. That entire episode is just Michael Scott trying to show that he is like a nice person and he is actually cool, but he's not. He's as much of an idiot as like everyone else. तो वो है. Whereas Leslie Knope is like, उसका lack of insight comes from the fact कि she is like कि मेरे को ऐसे president बनना है, like that is my ambition and everything, but she doesn't realize कि वो नहीं होने वाला है. The viewer sees it as funny, but she doesn't see it, and that's what makes it funny.
Also, I feel like for some reason she doesn't feel like the central character. She doesn't feel the way Michael Scott does. I feel like The Office is entirely based around him and then 3 others. Everyone is erased in the background. At least that was my experience. But with Parks and Recreation, Leslie is obviously a central character, but still I feel like everyone gets just as much attention as she does.
In Parks and Rec, I think they had the hindsight कि office में हमने ये गलतियाँ की हैं, let's not do them here. So they kind of paid enough attention to each character, like each character got their own screen time, which is what I said when I said that they prioritize relationships over like jokes. In each episode, like if you divide as a screen time pie chart अगर हम बनाएं, तो The Office would have like 1 or 2 minutes of like serious emotional discussions in any episode. The rest like 20-25 minutes is just jokes.
Yeah, but I feel like the just jokes part almost gets in the way of creating a good, fully fleshed out plot for the episode. Like, do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
In the sense of, you just look at it from point of view of a story that they're telling us, it's not that engaging.
That's also because Office में there are barely any seasonal arcs. मतलब there are broad character arcs across the season, but जो situations हैं, they get resolved within the episode itself. The Parks and Rec has like plot arcs which span across episodes. So I think that is something that they kind of figured out ki, if we want to make people stay for longer, we can do like these longer arcs.
I think that the couples in The Office are much more realistic and relatable than the Parks and Recreation couples, even though I like them much more.
See, The Office characters are people whom you know in real life. Like you would know a Stanley, you might know a Kevin, you might know someone like Pam. The Parks and Rec characters are thoda wakda in that sense. Like I don't know, that's the only term that came to my head. कि April थोड़ी सी है over the top है, Andy भी थोड़ा है मतलब वैसा है. So I think they deliberately made the characters थोड़ा ये कि okay, these are quirky characters in for becoming normal. Like that's their relationship, and यहाँ पे उल्टा था, like normal characters becoming ऐसे weird.
Yeah, but still, they set out to make the Office characters almost, because maybe they are more realistic, they're not as likable. They're just assholes.
Yeah. Which is why they spend a lot of time later making them likable. Which show has the better side characters, and what do you think of them?
Of course, I'm gonna say Parks and Rec.
Because which is the wrong answer, but yeah, whatever.
Because I genuinely feel that every single side character, I can't think of one character I thought was unnecessary or wasn't written well, and all of them have been fleshed out so beautifully in such a short span. I don't know how they did so well with Parks and Rec, but then this is one area they messed up a lot in The Office, because I would have liked to see more of what Phyllis does outside of The Office, or what who's the alcoholic, I can't remember her name.
Meredith.
Yeah, she does. And I loved how much we saw of Creed, but still I would have liked to see more of him.
Creed is a side character done well. Matlab, it's like you are using an ingredient for your dish. If you use it too much, it will become very weird. If you use it too less, nobody will understand that it was there. You have to use it just the right amount. So I think Creed was like perfect. But I do agree about the other characters. Like eventually they just became like stock characters. Ki one note, personality.
I feel like as a Parks and Rec fan that's constantly pitched against the Office fans, I have given up. Because I'm tired of trying to convince people that I'm in no way saying that it is better than The Office. I feel like they are very different in many ways, because of which it is not a fair comparison. Pehle to, as we established, The Office is very, very popular. That's why it has a very big fan base, and it is also super intense.
वो है ना कि if your parents are very famous and you are their child, and then you have huge shoes to fill. So I think Parks and Rec comes in that thing कि everyone is like, okay, Office देख लिया, अब क्या देखूं? वो वाले उसमें वो उसका unfair comparison हो जाता है. People don't watch it for the show that it is.
If someone watches The Office and says that recommend to me something in this genre, I don't think I would recommend Parks and Rec to them.
Interesting. Okay, why would you not recommend Parks and Rec?
Because then, like, I more people would watch it. The style of humor is much different. And fair. If you like Parks and Rec, then there is a chance that you will like The Office. But if you like The Office, I feel like there's a far lesser chance that you will like Parks and Rec.
I think if you have watched The Office and you are planning to immediately watch Parks and Rec right after, वो नहीं करना चाहिए, because then you will obviously compare it with The Office. You should pace it out.
Do you think if The Office had come out recently in times where there is so much pressure to be politically correct in the woke times, do you think it would have been received just as well?
I don't think so. Like, people would have paid more attention to the politics of it, and whether it's politically correct or not, and they would have missed out on the humor completely.
Try my cookie. Try my cookie. Try my...
I think the show is a product of its time, and it was made in a time where NBC, the channel where The Office aired, had 3 back-to-back great sitcoms airing. कि I think 8 बजे Office आता था, 8:30 बजे Parks and Rec था, and 9 बजे 30 Rock था. Like 3 great shows airing back-to-back. So it came from that time, and I think the modern sitcoms are very different in that style. The Good Place ho gaya, Modern Family ho gaya. Modern Family is a show which has a very like loyal fan base, and again it has the same mockumentary format, but take is completely different, and that makes that show very interesting, which is why it survives. And the conversation there is not about the politics, because it's more about the relationships. Yahan pe the focus would have been ki how could he say that, how could this person say that, and at that time also like there was outrage. मतलब काफी कुछ है जो problematic था, like all the gay witch hunt and all these episodes got a lot of backlash, but people got the point that the character who is causing all of this is an idiot and he learns a lesson. So वो एक important चीज थी जो हमेशा थी.
Yeah, that I feel like they managed to do so well, is that even if they something very out of the pocket was said or something extremely offensive was said, you couldn't take offense to it because of the
Yeah.
way it was presented. Like, it was made very obvious that this is happening for the joke.
Yeah.
It was my issue also, but do
Yeah.
you get what I mean?
Yeah, and it's always like जैसे the one of the compilations on the Office YouTube channel is Michael Scott being an ally, and उसका thumbnail है Michael Scott का photo है और उसपे pride flag बना हुआ है पूरा. So वही है, like even if it's from a joke point of view, you are still, you know, kind of reinforcing the fact that it's okay to be gay, despite the fact that it's, you know, coming through a joke. I think like, yeah, this show would not have been made in 2022. And which is the problem with 2022. Okay, this is a proper recommendation. So The Office has an official YouTube channel, and they release like deleted scenes, bloopers, things you have not seen from the show onto this channel regularly. Recently there was a deleted scene about Kevin, where Kevin complains that usko Angela ऐसे fake काम देती है because he's not, like, you know, smart enough. And then Kevin is like, you want some real work, I will give you real work. उसको actual accounting का कुछ काम देती है, and like Kevin can't figure out shit. Then like he does some जुगाड़ and finally does it. So ऐसी बहुत सारी चीजें जो आपने मेन शो में नहीं देखी होंगी जो यहाँ पे ये लोग रिलीज कर रहे हैं. So I would urge everyone to check out, because it's almost like you are watching a whole new show.
Tell me what your favorite episode is from The Office and Parks and Rec.
The Office में it's like very difficult because there are the obvious favorites, जैसे dinner party हो गया, fire drill वाला हो गया, the episode where Jim and Pam get married हो गया, Michael's farewell, जो हम लोग बोल रहे थे ना कि Office हमेशा जोक जाता है. That episode is like, अभी हम तुम लोग को हंसा है ना 7 season, अभी रो बैठ के पूरा एक episode रो बैठ के. Parks and Rec, since I've watched it recently, so like I have a good memory of it. I think the one episode where I realized कि okay, this show has finally figured out what it is the episode where the penguin marriage happens. Leslie gets the 2 penguins married, and she suddenly becomes this gay marriage icon, and then all of those things happen. Then the whole episodes with Ron and his ex-wives, Ron and Tammy, वो वाले काफी सही episodes हैं.
So great. The snake juice episode.
Yeah, Snake Juice was another great episode.
Also when Chris Traeger falls ill.
Yeah. The flu episode, उसमें it has the best line of the entire show, which is Chris Traeger is looking into the mirror and he's just like, stop pooping.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You know, the sequence I really like from The Office is I think Dwight is talking about how he has a wig for all the people in the office.
Yeah.
Love that so much. There's one where he does this.
Yeah.
Okay, rewatch value wise, which show do you think? I mean, this is a very personal case.
It's personal, and I think it also kind of vouches for the legacy that The Office has. The reason why people love The Office so much is the rewatch value. कि आप कहीं से भी कुछ भी कोई भी एपिसोड देख सकते हो and you will still, you know, find it funny. A lot of people do that with Friends. A lot of people have that with Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So जो like these big mainstream shows that have, you know, become really popular in memes and pop culture, they have great rewatch value. Parks and Rec, I'm not very sure if it has great rewatch value because some of the situations are very context heavy, whereas the Parks and Rec legacy is bang on. Everyone became big.
Whether that be Adam Scott, Chris Pratt, Rashida Jones, Aziz Ansari, Audrey Plaza, there's Paul Rudd.
Even Nick Offerman now. Nick Offerman is in Last of Us. Yeah. And Aubrey Plaza is in The White Lotus. Adam Scott is in Severance. And I'm like, man, what a legacy. Aziz Ansari would go and create like Master of None. And Amy Poehler, again, legendary comedian. Like she was already big enough when
back then.
The show happened. So like this is a show which has like a lot of legacy. Final, last, concluding thoughts. What do you think?
Talking to you, I realized that I like The Office more than I thought I did. And that my love for Parks and Recreation will never die and it will always be my number one show.
Nice. Thank you everyone for joining us for this episode. Let us know which other shows you would like us to compare. We also want to compare like Indian shows with shows abroad, so let us know if you guys have any ideas for that, and do let us know what you think. Is there anything else that you want to add, Disha?
Don't cancel me.
Yeah, please don't cancel Disha. And
Please don't cancel me.
Yeah, the question that we began this episode with, we have come back to it now, that which is the better show, The Office or Parks and Recreation? And the answer is Community. So, bye.